Started right at 2:23. Look at that. Kismet. Check, check. 1, 2. Testing, testing. Let me make sure this setup is working correctly. There's going to be no bells and whistles today, folks. Whole new setup. Bunch of new things going on. Thought I'd capture some VHS footage from the camcorder you're actually seeing me through. That's an old school VHS camcorder, so I finally found one. Thank you to Chris Shoemaker for helping me acquire this. And yeah, I'm really excited. It goes straight to the tape, and it's capturing right now, as well as being kind of a webcam. Hey, Jilly Beans, Jonaside, good to see you both. Thank you for coming. It's impromptu. Let me know if you can hear me and if you can hear me okay. Especially volume and whatnot. I got a lot going on here and a whole different spot. As you can see, I'm not in the dimming room today. I am in my liminal room. We'll call it the liminal room. I think what I'm gonna do, be kind, rewind. Okay, so you can hear me, Jilly. That's good. That's good. Sweet. Can you hear me okay? Do I sound good? Just okay. Let's see. Let me see if I can monitor this. I appreciate your patience, folks. Like I said, I'm going to capture some footage with you all here. Kind of do some random gabbing. And yeah, shouldn't be too long of a session. I do have a really long show tonight, unfortunately. God, how do I see my own stream? Let's see. There he goes. Oh. Yeah, I'm coming through. Okay, great. Don't you love the bleached out gauze of the VHS here? It's my favorite. You are in my headphones, so you sound good. Okay, great. Yeah, I was checking with my earphone as well, so I could pump it up, but I think I'm riding the meters there. I think also Jonaside, no offense, but he's getting old. Maybe he needs to turn up his hearing aids. Just kidding. Love you. I love you. I really appreciate you all. Yeah, it's been a long time, I think, since I publicly went live on Pragmagick. I have been... There's a lot to catch up on. I feel Patreon has been just a beautiful boon and a consistent current, and I feel, you know, up to date because I'm posting, I'm releasing things. I'm you know, giving the debut album, I'm giving iterations of each song and how that's progressing. I'm giving full footage and streams. I went live last Sunday and talked through these big magnanimous changes that are happening. So I feel this weird charade, in a sense, where, you know, I'm treating Patreon as I would the podcast, or as I would Pragmagick, or Read the Hallowed, or you know, Dakota Slim, or any creative medium, and I'm posting and sharing there, and I'm doing live streams, I'm doing liminal streams, and yet it's only viewable to patrons, and which I am over the moon thankful for. Thank you all, especially. You guys have been such a boon during this chaotic rough and tumble as of late. Good, progressive, transformative rough and tumbles, but rough and tumbles nonetheless. So thank you. And I'm actually going to read off the current patrons to thank them. I'm capturing that footage, like I said, on VHS, so I can edit and tweak it and marry that with upcoming episodes, because yes, this might be a public site. It is a precursor to a collection of episodes that I'm styled around Hauntomancy, or the practice and the specters of self. And just to quickly talk about it in one episode, because it's leads a huge energy chapter, check. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. Thank you for John. See, and that's the other thing. I got to get in the habit of checking chat for those little things. This is a new wireless microphone. And again, I just changed the batteries, and I had to change them back because I guess the batteries aren't working for them. So thank you for catching that. Hopefully you can hear me now. Let me check. Oh God, where did I leave off? Sound is back. I hear you now. God, how long was that? That's embarrassing. But this is why we do this. I'm sure I was in a beautiful speech no one will ever hear about. No. I think what I was saying was I have been toiling and working on major projects in the background all of this time, even though I'm not posting publicly. And when it comes time to post publicly, I end up wanting to combine and make things bigger. And what I'm also understanding is that the true mark or of a rhythm that I want to syncopate with as an artist is to understand, you know, when to be combustible and when things are good enough. When things are good enough for now, because in Hauntomancy, that is the haunted caveat, is that a work is never truly finished. And it can exist for a while out in the sphere, you know, in the public sphere, but you as a creator are able to dance with it again and change it and transform it. And of course, hopefully you do something creative and new with it, and not just some endless George Lucas re-editing kind of bullshit. I don't think that's Hauntomancy. I'm also not in the... it is a fun practice to post hoc claim things are Hauntomancy, but I don't want to get into that trap. It's like the Mormonism thing. Let me know how long that was in the chat, and hopefully that wasn't annoying. It's always something, and that's what I'm saying. No one is privy to how much goes into even just doing this. Like this intentionally shitty quality live stream you're seeing right now is insane. The amount of tech and working out lighting and working out, you know, audio quality. And I have two cameras right now. I have the VHS capturing, and then I'll show you this. I also have my 4K camera recording, which looks like Baba Ganoush. See? Much better quality. And that's you over here. And why did I say Baba Ganoush? I'm fucking out of it. It's been a long couple of weeks, and last night, you know, as I was building this kind of makeshift living room set, I'm understanding that I'm needing to break away from the dimming room because there's this new era upon us. There will be a new dimming room soon, and so I think subconsciously I'm trying to do things outside of it, and you know, work within other means to not have to be so anchored to that studio space. And not to bury the lead, that's because we are relocating back to Portland in the fall, and the next few Pragmagick episodes that are going to be highly stylized and edited, thoughtful, you know, and constructed, really kind of deals with that eternal return that's looming, and how perfectly syncopated that return is with the years of Hauntomancy work and magical and, you know, artistic practice, and it's culminating in 3 major projects that I now realize are all debuts of a new iteration or a new persona in a way. Eric Millar and I are working very hard on the updated kind of organizational outline and scripture called the Tethers for our, multimedia magic collective, We the Hallowed. And that sparked after understanding, actually, it was a revelation. I didn't log the date in my head, but in June it had been 10 years of We the Hallowed, that started in Portland. And I think we're at the best formation, or the most prolific formation of We the Hallowed right now. And funny enough, it's been mainly a joint affair with me and seer Eric Millar, especially him and his kind of design and publishing background. We kind of cover together all of the mediums, and that all came to a culmination of sorts with the Somatic initiative, which again in Pragmagick currents, I don't know if I've really talked about, but the short of it is 6 months ago we launched a snail mail micropress publishing subscription service. So people through patreon.com/pragmagick would sign up to either a micropress tier for like zines, stickers, other bric-a-brac, or they would sign up for a hex cassette, which was a tape label that I inadvertently started within We the Hallowed, and I was creating and releasing, like, I would say high quality handmade cassette tapes. And so we, out of nowhere, became this like publishing house that wasn't reticent or like didn't have to resolve to Amazon for self-publishing or Lulu. We still use those services, for a multitude of reasons, all of them sincere, none of them dire and creepy as those companies are wont to be. But so in June it was this culmination of, holy shit, it's been 10 years of We the Hallowed, but I feel like we are just debuting this like truly fully realized version of it into the world. And it's also the I'm in the mixing and kind of overdubbing stages of the debut Revelator Rosz record, which I didn't know was ever going to get made because I had kind of hung up that hat with an iteration of it that was, to circle back, I felt good enough to release solely on cassette, not to release it digitally, and get back to the drawing board. But instead, through my Hauntomancy, more pragmatic artistic process of self-sampling and, crate digging the innards of the personal discography and stuff, I was able to find the work again, and it's the best, and I think more, it's never been more in tune for what I was envisioning for a record. And although it's like vastly different from what I had spent years kind of toiling on here, it's like it's almost done, and that'll be a debut of a new iteration of a persona and the Revelator of We the Hallowed. And back to music, I haven't released a proper album since Dakota Slim's Bardos, before we moved to Seattle. And I say proper album by meaning widely published. And then on top of that, I have been working on this Hauntomancy primer, a kind of distillation. I'm going to go back to the VHS because that was more fun. I look down and how clean this picture is, and it irks me. Okay, there we go. That fits better. speaking of Hauntomancy too, you got to use dead technology. But yeah, so that brings me to Hauntomancy, which, you know, was birthed here in Seattle. And the first working actually shot me back to Portland in a probable full relocation for a couple of months that I decided not to a few years ago, and came back, changed my career, and, you know, pummeled forward. And it's amazing that me collecting those workings or distilling them into a primer, like an infographic primer, as well as like maybe a published work, found its kind of end, or its like last chapter. Because I was writing Eric all the time when I was working on editing the book. I was like, I don't have an ending for it. That's the thing with Hauntomancy. It fucking never ends. It's like there's always things that inspire and you want to punch forth or retool and make something completely different out of. And I was awarded that ending in an ellipses of sorts, or like a general coda, you know. I think I was looking at the wrong camera, you know. But you know, say that too much. Anyways, so yeah, I'm on the precipice of this trifecta of three very foundational and major projects across multiple mediums concerning, you know, music and the collective and philosophy and magic, and all of that is there. You know, I've been toiling in the background with all these things, and they're all inching closer to being able to realize a release date. And then we get the news that my partner got this amazing opportunity that would take us back to Portland. So you find a rhythm, and it took years here in this megapolis of Seattle. Oh, am I still talking? Can you still hear me? Kind of. Now I'm scared every time I get into a monologue that no one can hear me. I feel like it's on lower. Check. Anyways, yeah, so it's taken years to find this rhythm. And I built a whole career from scratch in audiovisual, you know, components and live technology, and was doing really well, was awarded a full-time position. And we decided to kind of give all this up, to take what we've learned and reinstitute it back into our roots. Which, who knows? How funny would it be in a couple of months and we decide, nah, fuck it, we're not going to do it. There's always that possibility. Shit is always happening. But at the same time, there's these marked major workings all coming to a head, as well as lifeisms. You know, I had to leave this job and move to freelancing so I could, after the move, come up here for work. And I was so worried because it wasn't on my timeline. I don't have enough money saved. All of this is just happening so fast, and thankfully I've been finding somewhat consistent work, so it's not as scary as it could have been. But there's just, I say all this to mean there's just so much fucking forming at once, and it's all going to hopefully be rebirthed and regurgitated into something new, as is the prospector of Hauntomancy. So my brain is fried from all of the synchronicities and soliloquies and parallel, you know, tethers and sundries of all of the workings all the time. And I'm tired. But that's a lot of me catching you people up, and you didn't ask for any of it. But yeah, I've been capturing footage here. Wanted to test this live because I think what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to go live. Mark your calendars. And I'm going to do a kind of hauntomantic look back at 3 months ago when I was in the dimming room. I think at the apex of this sacred space that I created and showing how I built everything, and just 3 months later how knowing all of that is going to be kind of deconstructed and recycled. And I think that's a good way to start this transitionary narrative structure through Pragmagick, and the second one, being a more prescient look at where things were, and then the third one being a future casting, release date setting. Things are more clear. This is where we hope to be, or we're meaning to be. That said, patrons, if you do sign up for the micro-publishing or somatic parcels, I'm excited to announce that Eric Millar is going to be curating this next package. I kind of had to handle most of the production and the shipping of the last 3 somatic parcels between domestic and international shipping, which have both been a nightmare. For some reason, my second or third package to Dr. Vanessa Sinclair and Carl Abrahamson made it to Sweden, went back. It was in LA for a while. I think got shipped back out. It's just like in this constant limbo of going back and forth. So it's heartbreaking, but them's are the breaks, and that's what makes these handcrafted, talismanic items kind of so precious. So Eric's going to be curating the next package, and he has some wonderful things worked out. I'm really excited about it. I, stumbled so he could run on this one, and hopefully it's the best one we've done yet as far as arriving to people's doorsteps and all of that. It will be the best one yet as far as just the content, because we're talking, I won't have a cassette this time, so in lieu of a cassette release, because I've already released 4 or so to subscribers, it's going to be something that takes the place of it, that is equally, or if not better in value in a working. So it's going to be fun. Yes, I'm going to sign up, or am I already signed up? Jilly says, Jilly, I've been sending you them no matter what, because you're just such an awesome friend, but also, you've been an amazing patron, and that's what I do. If you didn't specifically sign up for the tiers, but you have donated or donating equal to or more than what the somatic tiers offer, I include you in those somatic tiers if you send me a current address. I won't automatically do it because I've been burned before with the packages, and want to make sure that I have your consent to send you, or to have your address and to send you something. So if you're a current patron, which I will read in just a minute, all of the current patrons and thank them personally, and you want to get either the hex cassettes or the micropress, or the many things we've created, which I'll also share with you. If you go to wethehallowed.org, you can find our store. I already started releasing a couple of tapes for the public to purchase, and Eric has a couple of zines for the public to purchase. But if you want to be included in this and you are donating equal to or more than, message me an address and you will be part of the loop. Something we need to work out is, now that we're getting new patrons, thankfully, with very little promotion, very surprised and thankful, is kind of back order systems of getting them caught up, because these talismanic parcels themselves were so of the time. And so I want to get new subscribers, caught up with certain things, but I also don't want them to miss out on the current things. So there's a lot of back end we got to work out. Somehow we became a publishing company and a cassette label, you know, and so I've never dealt with all this shipping and all this before, so it's been eye-opening for sure. But yeah, I'm really excited to give all that. Doo-doo in your hoo-hoo, which is my favorite screen name ever, probably, says, I like the VHS aesthetic. Thanks. Yeah, it's not an aesthetic, really. It's an actual thing. This is an actual VHS. I guess it is an aesthetic, but I just mean no filter, you know. This is the real thing, baby. Straight to the source, straight to the annoying. Why people would rather just use digital filters is because no one wants to hunt for this trash and, you know, and graveyards of electronics and fix them and you know, work with them and figure out a way to commune this VHS camera from 1989, you know, as a webcam, which I'm using now. People don't do that really, and they should. There's a whole treasure trove of forgotten, beautiful, talismanic media, you know, conjure machines that are just languishing and being forgotten at the altar of AI and generative intelligence and all of this other shit that drives me up the wall. But yeah, thank you, doo-doo in your hoo-hoo. Thank you for allowing me to say that name out loud too. Appreciate it. But yeah, that's what I want to do right now. Again, like I said, I'm also capturing all of this on tape itself. After this, I'll capture the VHS footage, you know, digitize it basically, and then use it for editing later. And that's another part of the process that just makes all of this take a lot longer. But good art takes time and sacrifice, and as somebody who really likes doing, it's hard to sit in a chair and edit all day, but I'm gonna have to get to that point because I've just shot so much footage. I've made so much audiomancy. I've made, you know, so many different wonderful media magics that I feel with a little tooling, little cleanup, little narrative structure or something, that can be really amazing pieces of art. So hopefully I'll get into that phase soon. Doo-doo in your hoo-hoo says AI is just a tool, and I say I agree. I absolutely agree, and I think it's great when it's used as such. But not to get into the pitfalls and throes of, you know, the ethics and art and all of that. But I will say, yeah, it's inevitable. It's here, and it's a really useful tool. It's when you're using it to supersede or take the place of important artistic processes and you know, intentional creative constructs within the process of creating, such as actually, you know, the hard work it takes to get to a place to create a piece of art, and those many annoying, admittedly, processes, but very important processes. That's when we get into the you're using AI wrong, and yeah. But anyways, not to get into that, but I will. What time is it? I just see Jonicide's text. Thank you, Johnny Boy, for letting me know about lost sound. What would I do without you guys? I don't know. But I did want to end this impromptu Limbo liminal room, living room, liminal stream, live stream. See, not the dimming room, the liminal room, because nothing's really alive or dead. It's a pharmacon. It's both. Don't get me started. I'll show you what I have planned tomorrow to go through stuff. But yeah, I'll post a link, and you may actually have a planned live stream publicly to earmark for tomorrow. And We will do this again, but more focused and thematic within the construct of, you know, the transformative transition through the currents of Pragmagick and Hauntomancer, which if you haven't yet, subscribe to Hauntomancer. I would do it through the Substack, but it is also all of my Hauntomancy specific podcasts and Audiomancy and all of that has been collected under the Hauntomancy podcast channel, or Hauntomancer podcast channel. So look into that. I also started a YouTube where I do more of my experimental videomancy and audiomancy media magics through Hauntomancy practices at youtube.com/@Hauntomancer. So there is another channel. Again, haven't really been promoting a lot, so I've got a lot to catch up on. But all that is to say, what I wanted to do right now is something that I've been meaning to do that is a long time coming, and I think we are at a place as far as a stasis with patrons and, you know, newfound friends and supporters and subscribers and all of that. And I just wanted to give my due diligence in thanking each and every one of you for, you know, your patronage. And I'm going to take this footage and hopefully I can couple it as a tag at the end of future dispatches. And so, how do I click both? Why can't I filter more? Let's see. Act, I'm trying to get a list here. So these, what I'm about to read are the current and wonderful paid patrons through patreon.com/Pragmagick, and Patreon is the main source of being in tune with anything and everything Hauntomancy, Pragmagick, Audiomancy, you know, We the Hallowed, all of it. So there is a free subscription service, and I recommend folks to, you know, subscribe for free, and you'll see the kind of content that I post. And if you want to make the jump, do that. But I did want to take the time to, you know, thank all of my wonderful friends and, you know, supporters. Not my, but We the Hallowed's, you know, friends and supporters. And so let's kind of go through this. If I don't say your name, or if you were a recent subscriber that had to cancel for any other reason, know that I'm deeply appreciative of you. From the bottom of my heart, I get it. You know, things happen. Things happen to me financially all the time. I'm not a consistent person with that. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for a lot of people's patronage, I wouldn't be able to be a patron to other artists and creators that I like, because I usually recycle that back to artists and that need it. And then whatever's left over, you know, goes to monthly website hosting stuff for wethehallowed.org and all the fun back end stuff that goes into publishing and creating the cassette tapes and, you know, all of that, which is unfortunately not a cheap affair. But I want to thank Austin. So let's do this. Thank you, patrons, and I want to thank, let's see, how should I start this? We'll edit something else into it, but I'll just say, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to my lovely patrons for supporting We the Hallowed, Pragmagick, Revelator, Rosz, Dakota Slim, the magnanimous media magic currents that are forever toiling and bubbling, and thank you for putting up with my insane and chaotic nature in hyper posting. Every week you are being inundated, I'm sure, with emails of a updated draft of a book, of a forthcoming Substack article, a new rendition of a song from the forthcoming album. You know what I mean? A live stream, a Patreon only video, just fun updates. I use Patreon specifically as my only social media, really. Everything else is in service to Patreon, and so without you, I wouldn't be able to do any of it. So, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you very much, Austin Atchley. Lindsay Pinzer, up the pins punks. Mr. Thomas Wiston, appreciate it, sir. Kendall, thank you very much. Madam Psychotic, boy, I know who you are, and you know I got you. The bright star of Cain and my better half in Dim Zoom, the Rhythmancer himself. Thank you, thank you, Father Perseus. I have to remember to redo things so I can edit. And the great homie to this sorcerer, Miss Elena, or Sorcerer's Homie. Thank you very much. I actually have her wonderful created tarot of gradation right here. It's not publicly released yet, but it is a kind of color spectrum induced multi-current tarot deck, and it's incredible. I can't wait until she actually produces it. I do have a forthcoming Substack article that she has input on, because I used this in a working a couple months ago, and I used the HowlRound, or the Dissolver Echo Resonar method, and this deck to do a reading and a working, and so I have it written out with her joining. That'll be on Substack soon. So thank you very much, Elena. Chet Czar, Mr. Chet Czar, it's an honor, sir. What an incredible artist. Thank you very much. Alex Ledbetter, thanks, man. I know you've been super great and gracious for a long time now, and I appreciate you. Miss Jenny Rockwell, my old friend, my old Bay Area compatriot, and fellow damager, Divergent Magic Grimoire user. Very inspiring human being, and appreciate you appreciating anything that I've barfed into the world. Thank you very much. Mr. Commonwealth Chanting, or as he is now known as Peace Chanter, Ben CW. I know we give each other a lot of pokes and ribs and funs, but you know we're friends and we're close, and I appreciate you, and thanks for being around, man. Thanks for your help. Corey Ann, thank you. You have also been around for a bit, and I appreciate you hanging around, and hopefully I'm not too annoying with my notifications. Dacia, good to see you again, and I hope we can chat soon. We've had some good conversations in the past. I know you're very metaphysically minded, so I may need to glean from you soon. I didn't know I was going to do this whole talk about everybody, but let's roll with it. And Spooky, my fellow cohort from the ufology days that we both somehow made it out alive, and is doing great work. Just completed their documentary about Corey Good and his con, which you can find on Amazon. And he, Spooky, they were so gracious as to allow me to have the closing track on those documentaries. So the Dakota Slim song Legion is the title song on those documentaries, and it's fitting. It was written about that time in our lives, and I hope you're doing well, and thanks for joining. Tony Davis, my compatriot and fellow outdoor educator, wilderness survival wizard. Great to have you as always. I look forward to seeing you a lot more soon, actually. And of course, some classics here in Dr. Vanessa Sinclair and Carl Abrahamson, who I would consider, whether they would consider it or not, as de facto mentors of mine. Two jet-setting hyper creatives, international jet setter, trendsetter, hyper creatives that I am so appreciative of. Which reminds me, I just took a class from Carl at Morbid Anatomy, going over the Temple of Psychic Youth, his time in the Temple of Psychic Youth, hosting guests such as Magical Universe of William S. Burroughs, author, and my first ever metaphysical interview for esotericana.com, Matthew Levi Stevens, and some other wonderful guests who were all there in that current during the height of the Temple of Psychic Youth. And the class was brilliant, and it was such a touchstone and an archival kind of perfect summation, or introduction, I should say, to the Temple of Psychic Youth. So anyone interested in that milieu of, Temple of Psychic Youth and Psychic TV, Genesis Peorage, Current 93, Coil, any of that stuff, Throbbing Gristle, please check out Carl's class. He recorded every one of them, and I think he's making them available to subscribers on his Substack. So check out Carl Abrahamson on his Substack. Check out Dr. Vanessa Sinclair and her wonderful work within the realms of psychology, art, and magic. And she just launched a rendering unconscious psychology kind of, I'm not sure how to distill it, but you can follow her Substack, and it's kind of a class, I believe. And she also works through Morbid Anatomy, and she's always doing wonderful things. So please check them both out. And of course, my old Portland Occult Triangle compatriot, Mr. Eric Arneson of Audiomancy, old friend, consistent high five fellow. I don't know what I'm doing here. But Eric is still an incredible creator and mind, and just a well of beautiful information, and anything a bit too, highfalutin for my simple brain. That Audiomancy is a great source for a lot of those traditional concepts and Western esotericism and hermetics and all that stuff. So yeah, please check out Audiomancy. I'm sure most of you already do. And if I also want to say a big thank you to two of them who happen to be here. I'll start with Jonocide, who has to be one of the earliest supporters of mine through those foundational days. A great friend. I hope to go catch some wrestling with him before I leave up here in Washington. And just a all-around sweetheart, beautiful family with Renee. Thank you for your support, man. I appreciate you. And of course, Jilly Beans, who I was just talking to earlier, who has been such a wonderful patron, not only of all of the many projects in and through my hyper fucking chaos demon energies, but also has been a beautiful, consistent source of wisdom and of hearth, and has been such a great therapeutic friend as well. And I appreciate you, and hopefully one day we get out to Boston. And if I missed your name in this list of active patrons, I apologize. Please let me know. I will record something and add it to this Patreon sundry. And I also want to thank all of the past members, whether they were, canceled for reasons that I agree with, or, and by that I mean if they canceled for understandable reasons, or if they canceled because they found an adversary in me. I still appreciate your patronage, and thank you for doing so for as long as you did, for however long as you did. It went to good use. It's still going to good use. And so thank you very much to everyone at patreon.com/Pragmagick. That's probably the most mentioning of a monetary valued system you'll ever get from me. as far as talking about a place for support, but it's been a long time coming, and giving my kudos and graciousness and gratitude to all of you for hanging there with me. All of you have been more privy to the goings on than I should probably be willing to give out, but hey, we're all just works in progress. Anyways, before I wrap up, I'll check on comments. So thanks for joining this impromptu stream. I may keep it up publicly, but if not, of course, all patrons, everybody will be able to view it in perpetuity. So let me check out what's going on in the dreaded live comment section. I'm just kidding. Hopefully it's not too bad. All right, we're back to Mr. Doodoo in your hoo-hoo. Why do I always have to read that like I'm reading it for the first time? I think it's just because of how phonetically it's constructed, or like the actual word. It says, wait, so you were live streaming using an old camcorder? Yes, I am. That is something I think I need to do as well, is maybe make some short videos on how I do a lot of this stuff. I am using a VHS camcorder right now. That is what you're seeing. That is what is being streamed out to the world, is an old 1980s VHS camcorder through a couple of conversion boxes and a simple, USB card and OBS. All extremely cheap, but, highly sought from me for how wonderful, this is. And it's something I do with a lot of my camcorders and old content, or I hate content, old equipment that I use for my video art and stuff. Is figuring out a way for them to commune with the modern world and be useful in that regard too, so they're not just haunting the past, such as Hauntomancy. That's a lot of it. He also says, Matt, people said the same thing about synthesizers, how they replaced years of learning an actual instrument, both learned to coexist. Yeah, but there's a wild difference about that, because whereas I think a synthesizer is taking maybe a certain processes out, the AI is taking the entirety of it, or most of it, and its interest is to eradicate human error and to clean things up, to clean mistakes, and to not have the wonder and the experimentation through, hapless mistakes, and the beauty of human error and all of that comes in, I think, in such a magnanimous part of making art. But then again, yes, does that come down to what subjectively what each of us hold true, and what you're willing to give up as a creator versus what I'm willing to? Sure. Yeah, I don't have an objective, concrete answer about the ethics of AI, and that's why I say it's a tool. I don't use it in the creative concept of it creating for me in any way. Maybe it can help me reorganize my schedule or do something, like you said, very tool-wise, but I don't use it to create in that sense. And a lot of people do, and I don't agree with it, and a lot of people don't mention that they use it and put stuff out and act like they suffered through the follies of creating this thing when they didn't, and that pisses me off. And it's taking from a lot of people's blood, sweat, and tears by amalgamating all of the work that came before it. Synthesizers, though, in and of itself, if anyone was saying that about synthesizers, didn't understand synthesizers. And that was kind of a bullheaded remark from them back then, because modular synths, there's such a beautiful art, and talk about an intrinsic, brilliant processes of, circuit bending and toiling through patch bays and creating mutant sounds that you've never heard before. I mean, that's a whole other realm. If someone was complaining that synthesizers were going to make it so people didn't play keyboard anymore, they didn't get keyboards. Or they didn't get synthesizers, really. Or they did, and they were just you know, paying attention to people who were using synthesizers in a good way. And I think that's what I relish with AI now, is that we're past that hump where it doesn't irk me so much. I don't fucking care. It's very obvious to me when somebody uses AI. It has its own aesthetic now, and it's not appealing. There's an intrinsic uncanny valley-ness about it to me that's an automatic turnoff, and there's an intuition when I see it being used as that, and I just go by that. I go by that feeling. And if does that leave room for people to, you know, persevere through that and show me other ways that it can be? Of course, like, I'm sure. But from what I have seen, when AI is being used creatively, it is from uncreative people who want the accolades but don't want the sweat. And fuck them. Bad art from, you know, bad artists, even if it's AI art, is still bad art as far as I'm concerned. But anyways. Jilly says, much love, my friend. Jonaside says, wait, BA advisory wasn't, wait, BA advisory was an option. Damn, too late. Yeah, you're setting time bombs in grammatical ways here. Hey, Donjo Fonzarelli. What's up, brother man? I think I caught a second or two of your recent record stream as of late, but I'm always missing it. It's always live when I'm working. So Jilly says, I use AI for meeting minutes and that's all I'm okay with. Exactly. Yeah. I don't wish to engage so much in the dialogue or the debate about it, because I think it's fruitless. I think, you know, people at the end of the day, you know, have their reasonings for it, and what I illustrated a few minutes ago was how I feel about it. If you use AI art, I don't think less of you in any way, but I think there's an automatic understanding of less care about the intrinsic or intentional properties of the art that you're creating if you're willing to give up processes that you can do, that you should do, that AI art is doing. And that's all I have to say about that. But yeah. Same, says Don Joe. Hell yeah, buddy. Oh, was once me. What's up, man? Haven't seen you in a bit. Thanks for stopping by. This was just a little impromptu thing. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We'll do this again. This setup is generally working okay, which I'm excited about. And yeah, I'm capturing this on VHS. Patrons can look forward to the actual VHS footage of my patron shout outs that I hope to edit and make into a fun little tag later. And you can also see later, I'll post, well, here, I'll show you. So tomorrow we'll be going over this. Just a little treat here. So, of course, in my chaotic, this is me late night explaining Hauntomancy.
Brilliant mind.
This is me late night last night explaining Hauntomancy to my dog Zaro through a PowerPoint presentation in an hour, going over, trying to be as deft as possible, off the cuff, unscripted, and completely improvised. I miss a lot of things. I don't cover a lot of things, but I think it's a great foundation to use to stream tomorrow, to go over this, and to fill in some blanks, and hopefully have a fun little Hauntomancy video primer and discussion thing about it. So that's what we'll do tomorrow, amongst some other fun stuff. I've got to get ready for my evening. Hopefully this this weird tech-based thing that I'm doing with the camcorders and the wireless mics and this new but very old laptop that I'm hoping will just handle streaming will be fine. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll post the YouTube link there. All patrons, of course. I'll send you the raw footage of that Hauntomancy ramble. And if any of you have any questions of Hauntomancy, you know, you can join tomorrow, join in chat, and I'll answer them. I know most of you have no idea what I'm talking about, probably don't care. It is a very niche thing to create your own metaphysical and artistic practice. But I hope that people can see kind of some of the transpositional qualities of creating this thing in both pragmatic and metaphysical ways. So yeah, stay tuned for that tomorrow. And there's a lot coming in these next 3 months. These will be the limbo months ahead as we steady ourselves for the oncoming new era that is abound. So without much pomp and ceremony, we'll just leave it at haunt on, and we'll see you tomorrow.